it's thinking about it. Oh man, there's 7 people already watching.
Oh.
Oh yeah, and it looks like we are live now. Fantastic. So, hi Gwen.
Hello.
So we had a little incident last session, right?
Yeah.
Incident is a light way of putting it. What
Yeah.
happened?
My character, who's a wizard named Effie, or was a wizard named Effie, she I would say that I probably pushed the danger level too much. And I also misunderstood. It was a lot of me making mistakes, but it was also just a bad boss fight. Um where there was a boss enemy had a weapon that that she was using that caused her heart to explode, but she was smart about, or caused my heart to explode. But she was smart about it because it only worked. It was like a Vorpal blade, but it was a dagger. Um, it only worked if she rolled 20, and she before the session before cast hold person on me, so she had advantage, and so it was a lot of things, uh, domino effect, and I ended up having my character have an instant death. No death
Yeah,
saves, no nothing.
yeah. Uh, hit with a vorpal blade, heart exploded.
Yep.
Well, I put a hit point threshold on there, so it only do it once you're below 30 hit points.
That's true. And I was at
Yeah,
27.
yeah, 27 when that
Yeah.
happened.
27 hit
So
points.
after a year and a half, your character is kaput.
Yeah.
Played from
Yeah.
level 3 to 13. Ouch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we have to work in a new character for the time being, right?
Yeah.
Effie's body is wrapped up in a rug in a tavern right now.
Yeah, they're being real disrespectful with their body. But they also, my character, listen, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the other players, but my character is the one who knows how to do everything. She's the one who controls all the access to places where we might store things. So these people don't know what to do with their corpse.
No.
So they're just walking around with their corpse right now in the middle of a pub,
Yeah.
looking like a bunch of maniacs.
So a key plot point, I guess, for stream right now is that like raised dead is exceedingly rare in our campaign setting, right?
Yeah.
It's not some like the diamonds that can bring back the dead are, valuable heirlooms. Not just everyone has one. And
Yeah.
you've already used the one you get for this campaign on someone else.
Yeah, one of the other members of the party, she did ask if everybody was okay with it, but she used it when her father died in a attack on the city that we
And
are
a
in.
plot by the big
So
bad.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So without getting too much into it, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna try to share the screen with you.
Okay.
Let's see how smart I am. See if I can figure this out. And hopefully it will pop up. And everyone on stream will be able to see it as well. Can you see it?
Yes.
All right. All right. Hopefully someone in stream will. I mean, yeah, Justin, 1.5 years. Ooh. All right. So you already there are some things that are like sort of like set already because we got you in within maybe like 30, 40 minutes of dying, right? You're sort of back in the game somehow.
Yeah, I keep a lot of backup characters. So I just went through the list and thought, who is going to be a good fit for the team right now? But I also went through and I picked who is not going to be the best fit for the team right now because I didn't want these people to get off too easy. I could have picked another wizard that had all the spells that Effie had lined up, but I thought that would be too
That'd be a little too
convenient.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be too convenient. So I picked somebody that I was intrigued to play, but also would be a good fit and fill in a lot of these niches. We don't have another full spellcaster on the team,
I mean, we
and
have
we
3
have
clerics, but that's not
well
They're not
Yeah, but those
arcane.
are we don't have like a sorcerer. We don't
Yeah.
even have like a druid who does like mostly spell casting. So we don't have a lot of everybody else is a cleric or multi-classed into cleric. And um and we don't have a lot of everybody uses spells, but they aren't like full casters. And we have a lot of things that we use that require uh casting of some sort. um but so I wanted to pick a character that was going to be really useful, but and also that I wanted to play, but I didn't want to pick somebody who was going to just be a total recreation party wise of Effie, because that's no fun.
Yeah. So you know what? All right. We're gonna touch on that in a second because that's something I kind of regret doing when Melvin died and we introduced Parrish. That so I'm just gonna go. You know what? Let's do it right now. So I want you to maybe think about before we play next session is I want you to think of a way that you might be able to contrast uh I from Effie. Like do
Yeah.
something that like make it known somehow like through like role play or like some sort of character action, something that I would do that Effie wouldn't or vice versa.
I have thought about that a little bit, and I have thought about how the fact that she doesn't know anything about the big bad, the person that we're fighting
Mhm.
is. So I think her perspective on the actions that he's doing and on why we're fighting against it would be completely different. So that is one thing. I'm not sure if I will follow through with that or how hard I will push that, because I do think that that might just be annoying to the party.
Okay.
If I'm just like pushing against, like, well, why are we doing this? but
All right.
but
So
I
all
have
I
thought.
know is that you have an idea for a tiefling wizard, right?
Mhm.
And the backstory is the dagger, the sort of mythic artifact that killed Effie, is the same knife that also killed Ai's mother, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. So the shears of fate killed Mama. All right. So something that I'm not sure we've ever actually talked about in my setting is you're going to be the first tiefling that you've really ran into, right?
Yeah, that's not a basically a just full on uh uh
Devil, yeah.
devil. Yeah.
All right.
Uh
So tieflings aren't like it's not like, you know, two tieflings find each other and they have another tiefling baby, right? So every single tiefling is like being marked by fate. It's some sort of like cosmic element got imparted on them, or they're cursed in some way. So being a tiefling makes you have a little story hook somehow. So what was your mom? Was she a human, you think?
well, it I guess it depended on how it worked in your world. I wanted her to be a human. I figured that she was either going to be biological or adopted, depending on how it worked. If it's possible for her to be a biological human
Yeah.
uh mom, then yeah, that's how I would want it to be.
Yeah. So you were either, yeah. So she either birthed a tiefling baby, or at some point in your life, you got turned into one.
Okay.
Ooh.
I think that she would have been born a tiefling.
All right. Did your mom have to like hide you, you think? Or like you in like a remote enough area where it wasn't a big deal? Or was the village really understanding? Or
Uh
were you born in like some sort of weird arcane university where you were studied?
the way I've described my character so far, um, so
Yeah, let me have it.
my character looks like the character Lum, who's a pretty famous anime character. Um, and her main defining features that would point her out as a tiefling would be that she has blue hair and little like horns on her head. Um, and so I think maybe she just put her kid in a lot of hats. Shaved her head and like put her in a lot of hats. Uh oh, light regular colored skin, blue hair.
Blue hair.
Yeah.
right. Cool.
If it's usual in your world for tieflings to look way more unlike humans, we could go with an alternate skin color and stuff like that.
I think it's up to you.
Okay.
Like, so you know that like typically I have like a very like low fantasy sort of grimdark sword and sorcery setting, right?
Right.
So you can sort of expect that tieflings would be, sort of shunned and feared. So like how much do you want I guess it's up to you like how much you want to pull that lever.
I
But you're
think,
also a high level character, so you can flex on folks now. Like what are you gonna do about it?
yeah, I was gonna have her, because she's high level now, she's maybe a little bit more like oblivious and flex. But I think as a child, maybe she would have, her mom just would have like shaved her head, her hair, put her in hats, and they would have lived out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. And she would have just had to deal with this like crazy child and lived in a homesteading sort of situation.
Lived in the country. Homesteaders. Okay. Also, here's an idea. Maybe your skin got darker and darker blue as you got older and sort of pushed you into maybe adventuring.
Okay.
It can
Yeah,
become harder to hide your nature.
that would make sense. Yeah.
All right. So have you picked like a background for your character, like from the book?
Yeah. I picked Outlander, which fits with what we've come
Oh,
up
there
with.
you go. Perfect. That explains how you're out in the woods like that. Okay. So how did you become a wizard then?
Yeah, that's a little that's going to be a little bit harder to explain because a lot of this feels like sorcerer stuff. But I guess
I mean, you can be a sorcerer if you want.
well, no, I've built her I built her in a particular way with spells that can only be for a wizard.
Ah.
Uh so her, my main conceit for her wasn't about her appearance. My main conceit for her was when I was reading the I don't know exactly how it's pronounced, but Wildmount book.
Mm-hmm.
And so my main idea for her was just somebody who uh can just do everything that moves characters around on the board. Like that was just, I was just playing around with like every single spell, every single ability that I could fit into a AL legal like AL
So
legal
this is your thing.
wizard
You're gonna
that
play.
just that just moves characters around, which is
When
why
do
I
you
chose
hate me? To play with minis over Zoom.
I know. I just thought it would be funny, really. Well, to be fair, when I made
You'll
her,
see me suffer.
I made her pre-COVID, but that's why I chose Tiefling, was because of Hellish Rebuke.
Okay.
And so I was just,
Oh.
I just wanted everything that could move enemies around. And so I just thought it would be funny.
Okay.
So she has to be a wizard if I'm going to do this concept.
All right. So I guess we'll circle back around to that. All right.
We'll circle down to how much you want to suffer.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about these shears of fate for a second. Oh man. So what do you as a player know about these? I sort of forget.
We know that they are part of the what's called the tools of the loom in your world, which are a set of tools that are used in a sort of ceremony to elevate somebody to godhood. And I can't remember at what step they're used, but these seem to be used in. They've been used in a few different societies throughout the history in your world to, and they've always been used with dire consequences so far. to in these ceremonies where people have tried to elevate themselves to godhood, and then that's gone awry.
Yeah. So the last time that you figured out they were used was about a little over 200 years ago in setting. Okay. Um, so before that, right? Do you remember that group of soldiers that you ran into on your way to Herdothrin?
Mhm.
The what was left over from somebody's army?
Are they the ones that were like turned to stone?
No, they're the ones that you convinced and just let them go after they stripped off all their clothes.
Okay, I don't remember them.
Were you not there?
I
No,
might
yeah, it's the
not
one
have.
you T-Rexed.
The ones I T-Rexed.
Yeah, you turned into a
Oh,
T-Rex and
oh,
you cowabunged.
that's right. Okay. I was thinking way earlier on in our history. Yes, I remember the
Yeah,
ones. Yeah.
so that group of soldiers, their leader was a guy named Tix, the half-elven, right?
Yeah.
He's really only a quarter elf, but his grandfather was the last real owner of these shears. Own the shears. All right. So that could be a potential tie-in right there of why you're up in the Northlands.
Okay.
But this was again like 200 years ago. He was the last legitimate owner. His grandfather, with all the other elves, got turned into pillars of salt, and the society was destroyed. So maybe I don't know. So how do you think your mama got killed with them?
I was going
Like,
to
what was she
ask.
doing messing around with someone who had a legendary and kind of corrupt artifact?
I was just going to ask you what's like the lifespan of a tiefling in your world?
I think they're probably slightly more long-lived than whatever species they came from.
Okay. So she would be not, like elven long lived or other ones. Okay.
Unless you were cursed that way. Like, I'll give you some leeway.
Well, I was just wondering which owner of the Shears of Fate I should try and place in my head as being the people who killed her.
Okay.
So I so with the owner of the Shears of Fate, when she died, would it have been the woman that killed Effie, or would that have been much after?
Well, so here's the timeline, right? So his grandfather, so Tix Cholpek. Yeah, oh man, lore dump on stream. Haha. So Chick Cholpek, his grandfather, what's the name? Virdum Cholpek. He owned the shears, and then he gave them to the last party. Right? The last party died in the fight with Dago. The devil in Blackfire. He's the one responsible for the blight, kind of.
Okay.
Kind of. And then the shears disappeared from history. Then what happened is unknown, right?
Okay.
And so Tix, he might be trying to reclaim them, like, this is my heirloom. And as you're going to find this out as soon as you start next session, the dagger itself is cursed, right? That, like the Elder Wand in Harry Potter? Like, you can only
it's been a while.
So you can only attune to the dagger if you killed the previous owner.
Okay.
Or you're part of this line that Tix is, if you're the Horator of their house.
Okay.
So he could have a claim to it, maybe a year after it, to try to figure out what's going on with your mama, or...
I assumed that she was after it to just destroy it. I think that she was in a just like this is way too dangerous to be around.
Just because of its just because it's Vorpal property, nothing to do with any of this nonsense?
Yeah, well, I imagine that maybe she started it, or she started following it to because of her mom, because of her mama,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe she saw other corpses in its in its wake, and then she realized how dangerous it was. I mean, if somebody used it on just any random person who is not an adventurer, they all have under 30 hit points. You could just instantly kill anybody with like no resistance. So it's like I I think that it would be very easy for her to find, if somebody wanted to, for her to find just a uh whole line of destruction if somebody wanted to do that.
So maybe you're like a treasure hunter almost at this point. You're just tracking down this one particular artifact.
Yeah.
Okay. And that could explain why you're up here anyway. You've tracked it all the way here.
Yeah.
Hmm. Do you want to have anything to do with Tix and that army that was just destroyed? Like maybe you were potentially like hired by him because you have some information on this thing and he wants it too. You're planning to double cross him or something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're here to like come after, like, wait a second, maybe he's already found it. Maybe he has some more information.
Yeah, I think that would make sense. That maybe I knew that he had a connection to it, and I, joined it. But my plan was that once I got it, I was not going to give it to him. I was just going to destroy it.
So you're going to use so you're like Belloc in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones's rival. You're just using the Nazis to get what you want.
Yeah.
You're just using Tix's army to get what you want. All right. You don't even know it's the shoes. You just know it's the dagger. The golden exploding heart dagger.
Yeah.
All right. So you are going to be a 14th level wizard, right? So that is a lot of things that have happened, right?
Yeah.
So you've probably had at least like one like huge epic adventure. Do you have any idea what that might be? Ooh, let's think about it this way. Are you from this part of the world? Are you from like another section?
I kind of like the idea of being from another section of the world.
Okay.
It might be kind of hard for me because we've been sort of just walking through. We've been to a few different cities, but we mostly kind of stuck between a few cities. So it's not like I would have a ton of knowledge of those other cities off the top of my head, but I don't know. It might be kind of fun to be from a whole different part of the world.
All right, give me 1 second. I will pull up a map here to share with you. Ooh. Okay. Oh, let's see how smart we can see if we can figure this out.
I have a copy of the map too. That I
the world map? Oh, there we go. Now it's on screen. Boom. All right, so our current campaign is all stuck in this little area right around here, right?
Yeah.
So you can be from anywhere else except for Bzir. Like this whole part of the continent broke off.
Okay.
And if you don't want to be necessarily tied to anything in this part of the setting, you can be from what's called like across the seas, just meaning like you took a boat over from this other huge continent where everything else is, but we never go.
Okay. Out of curiosity, what would you say is the most chaotic part? The most like weird part of your world? Like the place where maybe the most off people would be if they came to the area we're in.
Okay, so the way I have this set up is each like little city or section is a different like flavor of fantasy, right? So we're up here in like the sword and sorcery Nordic fantasy zone, right? Over here is like Arabian Nights high magic area, right? So over here is like Pirates of the Caribbean swashbuckling area. So this is probably very chaotic, I would say. Shade Meadow is our Wuxia Fantasy Japan area.
Yeah.
This is our classic D&D setting over here.
Yeah. I was being drawn to like the Rumblood area. So maybe like somewhere in there, maybe one of the islands surrounding it.
Yeah. You know what? That's kind of could be maybe like an Outlander. Maybe your mama took you to like a little far-flung coaster outlet.
Yeah.
Okay, that
makes sense.
works. Awesome. We'll go ahead and add that back. Ooh. All right. Outlander from Rumblood. All right. Were you a pirate? I just wrote down pirate.
You know, pirates would offer a really good way for me to, like, maybe I was a pirate in the short term because it would offer me a really good way to both get gossip and information about treasures and like the dagger in particular, and also modes of transportation around the world.
Mhm.
So yeah, maybe I was like a part-time pirate.
Maybe you just worked on maybe you were a wizard on a pirate ship, maybe?
Yeah, maybe I was. Yeah, that would make sense.
Because you need like some sort of adventure, some sort of backstory that explains 13 levels of progress.
In fact, maybe that's where I got the ability to be a wizard. Maybe I wasn't a wizard until I met a wizard on a pirate ship.
Oh, you were like a cabin boy or cabin tiefling.
Yeah, cabin tiefling, and then maybe a wizard on the pirate ship figured out that I was a tiefling and not a human, and saw that I had some innate ability because of that. Or figured that I would have some innate ability because of that. And then that's where I got my wizard abilities. Trained to be on a pirate ship.
Oh yeah, by this mentor wizard. Okay. Got my cavern tiefling apprentice. I'm bad at spelling. Okay. All right. So you and then did the mentor die or is the mentor still alive?
Pirates don't live that long. I bet he's dead.
Dead. All right. So here's an interesting question. At what level was your character when your mentor died?
Let me look at my spell list. I'm trying to think about when maybe he would have taught me. Let's say that I was maybe like 5 or 6. Does that seem too low?
No, that's fine. So that's 6th level. So I guess in my head, like what might be an interesting story is once your mentor died, you decided to return home, show your mom what you've learned about yourself, and then you saw the exploding heart.
I see. Okay.
And then that set you off on your new quest to figure out what was going on.
See, I figured that it would be the other way around, that she joined the pirate ship to get the information, to like travel, get the information because she was lost. And then that's kind of when she got trained as a wizard.
Okay, so like this old Batman thing, like you saw your mom die this tragic death and you spent your whole life trying to track down this thing.
Yeah, and it wasn't until she was like trained by a wizard that she actually got the ability to do that very well. Because otherwise, if she hadn't have been trained, she would just be probably floating around on a pirate ship.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun. 6th level. All right. So that's why you went to the harbor. So Mama died. So it's not that it's not that your skin got bluer and you couldn't hide any longer. It's that your mama died. And you got picked up by the pirate ship. You left for the harbor to make your way in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. So what led you up to the Northlands? Like just after, why did it take you from level 6 to level 14 to figure out about ticks?
Hmm.
Or what level did you join his campaign? We can put it that way.
Well, I feel like that would have been because I'm not dedicated to him. I feel like that would have been much sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would have been much later. So maybe I would have even been like level 12 or something. Like maybe I would have been much higher level cuz I'm planning I went in planning on turning on him. So uh yeah.
Okay.
You've mentioned before that there is a harbor in Neverwinter. Because at one
Yes.
point we in a way that made you freak out, we were thinking about chartering a boat from there, and you were like, "This is not in the plan, or this is like out of the realm of everything that's in the campaign." Oh,
This is a sandbox, not a beach.
yeah, exactly. Uh, so so we so maybe she took a pirate ship all the way up to Neverwinter and came down through there, and that's a very dangerous territory because there's aren't there like trolls and stuff there?
And orcs
So
and
maybe
things.
that's an orc, so maybe that's
Mhm.
where she would have gained all those levels.
Okay. And then you walked from Neverwinter through Ugrota, which is like a huge, probably the only orc encampment, and it's like this mountain pass between Neverwinter and the Northlands
Yeah.
to the north. So just to meet up with ticks, or were you like you're just like walking for just adventuring?
Yeah, I guess adventuring. Maybe I heard that it was where maybe I was just kind of like blindly going where I heard that there was a lot of really uh uh like cutthroat people, like people that would murder people. So I was just kind of like
Oh, this could be a very
naive.
dark time in your life. Like
Yeah.
your mom is already dead, and then your mentor, your second father, or whatever, just died,
Yeah, and maybe I was just kind of thinking like,
and
A,
you
I'm
just
just
learned
gonna
Fireball.
yeah. I took Effie did not know Fireball, which shocked some members of my party. But you know what? I don't like making wizards that know Fireball. But I did give Aya Fireball. Just to distinguish her. um but yeah, like maybe she just yeah, maybe she just kind of was like on a quest of both like figuring out what like justice meant to her, but also trying to figure out what um I don't know. To her, the person who did this sort of thing to her mama would have to be somebody who was really cutthroat and horrible. And so she was like, I'll just go where like the worst people and like everybody says the worst people in the world are. And so due to speciesism, everybody said, "Oh, that would be the trolls." So she just kind of went there.
Okay. Go to Wastelands.
Yeah.
All right. So who is this person who did this to your mama? Do you
That
know?
um well, let's see.
Well, here, let's think it another way. Does your character know, or does Gwen know? Or does the DM have to make something up?
Uh I feel like we might as well come up with it now. I don't know if it would come up in this adventure because it's so late in the game, but I
Yeah.
don't think the character would necessarily know. Because otherwise, it kind of gets resolved pretty immediately. We don't know if Effie will come back. Fingers crossed, but I kind of doubt it with how rare things are.
I know. If
Um,
only you knew someone with the ability to raise dead.
I do, but she wasted it on her dad. uh, we probably know other. Well, we do know other people, but
Yeah, if only you knew someone who's hell bent on making everyone be able to raise the dead.
well, we'll see how the rest of the party feels about that. uh, but uh, I just yeah, I don't, just in case, I don't want her arc to be completely done. Like I don't want them to be like, "Oh yeah, we know where this person is. Let's just go. Let's just go kill him." And then she's like, "Great."
Well, that's sort of what I'm getting at here, right? Like, I
Yeah.
want to know why your mom was involved with somebody who had this ultra powerful, kind of evil artifact.
Maybe she thought that there was something that could cure Eye of being a tiefling. Maybe she thought that there was some way that she could turn Eye back into a human, or into a human, because she was born a tiefling.
Yes, that's another good question. Uh, so peasant mom gets in contact with someone with dagger to cure you. Okay. And so that's the other question. Like, why are you cursed as a tiefling? Where did that come from?
Hmm.
Is it something that you did, or is it something that your mother did, or you're like marked by fate somehow to achieve some higher purpose in like the cosmos?
Maybe this is like super pessimistic of me, but part of me wants to just say like just bad luck, like nobody, like just fate, just like I don't know, just like how people are born with like a a, a disease or something. And just like I know that usually it would be a curse, but maybe just in this case it just happened. It was just like a luck of the draw. But if that's not how it works,
No, 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 no. How about, can we say that that's what your character believes?
sure. Yeah. That makes sense.
All right. And then later on, we're going to figure out a way to say, oh, wait a second, no, you do have an important destiny link to your origin.
Okay. That
Because that's what 15th level characters have. They have epic destinies.
that's true. That's true. It I feel like it might be significant too that there is a antagonist of ours that did at one point pretend to be a tiefling. And so it might make sense that there was something to do with that.
Faurine.
Yeah.
Oh. So, do you want to think of a connection to Faurine? Do you think Faurine has the information on the person who killed your mother?
I wasn't necessarily thinking that. I was just thinking that maybe
Okay.
Faurine has some knowledge about what that destiny would be. And so that's why she picked being a tiefling when she first showed herself to she at one point she displayed herself to another member of the party. This is for the stream. To another member of the party as a tiefling. And she was like, "This is my real identity," which ended up being a lie. But maybe she picked a tiefling because she knew that there was a tiefling identity that had a greater destiny.
The tiefling that she chose to disguise herself as is you.
Yeah.
Like you're another version of Maureen.
Well, maybe, yeah. But the only person who saw that was Melvin, who's dead. So it's not like Melvin can say, "Oh my gosh, that's the Fulrian tiefling."
Oh, shucks.
So but he did say she's a tiefling.
Yeah, you know what? And I like that too because that means that you had another run-in with Faurine earlier on.
Right. That yes.
All
So
right.
maybe when I saw Faurine, she knew through her devil powers that
Mhm.
this is somebody who has a marked destiny. So she took that on as one of her disguises.
Okay. So what does Faurine want from you?
Hmm.
Because she would have you had if you had some sort of running with her before, she would have asked you for like something, right? To sort of make a deal with you or uh hmm. Hmm. What would have here, we can do this the other way. What do you think Faurine would have offered you?
Definitely knowledge locations of the dagger.
She told you about ticks.
Yes, that would be good. She told me about ticks. And I feel like that would have been interesting enough for I to take.
Mm-hmm.
Iconically, Effie did not take deals with Faurine and convinced everybody else not to, but I would take this deal.
There we go. That's one way that I is very different than Effie.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So Faurine told you about ticks, and Faurine wants something from you. And I kind of feel like it would be nice if, because the rest of the party hates Faurine, right? And I kind of want to seed some tension
Mm-hmm.
between your new character and them. Uh, hmm. So they want the dagger and they want it for another reason, right? The party wants to give it to the rival party and eventually to take out the loom, right? And you want it to be absolutely destroyed.
Right. Although I'm not sure what our party wants to do with the dagger because it seemed like it was something that like Effie was kind of leading the like she was going to say what we should do with it. So I'm not sure what our party is going to do when they are in charge of what their ideas of what to do with the dagger are. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I feel like she's definitely I is like we gotta destroy this thing.
Yeah, you want to cast it into the volcano in the center of Herdothrin,
Yeah,
right? No questions asked. You know, the blight be damned. Just let it remain there.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So we're gonna have some sort of something there. Um. So how married are you to your wizard archetype? Which one? You chose one from Wildmar, right?
Wild Mount. Yeah. Oh, it's so cool though.
Well, what like what class features does it have?
Okay, well she is a graviturgy wizard. Which means that she controls gravity and movement. Uh and her class features are just amazing. I mean, I didn't even get to use them. So for the stream, I introduced her by having her attempt to steal the dagger at the end of the thing. I knew it wasn't gonna succeed. Um, and at one point, I almost thought it would, and I was like, I really hope that I don't succeed because what is this? I had to like hold back on how powerful my spells were because I was like, if I kill everybody else and I succeed at this is just gonna be a
You end
mess.
the campaign, right?
Yeah,
The party just
exactly.
gets back from a boss fight. They're like low on HP, low on spells, having a chance to long rest. You introduce a new character. You're just like, I'm just gonna steal from everyone, fight you. Ha ha.
Well, I think
When TPK's the party.
honestly, if they can't subdue a random wizard, they have no sense being adventurers. So they gotta get their act together if they can't subdue a pub wizard. But yeah, her so I didn't get to use all of her abilities during that sort of scuffle, but her main abilities are she can adjust the density of objects. These are her class abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So she can make things heavier or lighter, which is amazing because if something is falling, she can make it heavier, cause it damage. She can also adjust the if she's near, like let's say she's near Huck, one of our other party members, and he's like slashing at something. She can make that move faster and harder and make his slash cause more damage. So she's just adjusting how hard everything around the field moves. Um, and she can make things on the board move around. So I took basically every spell that is within that type of. In Wildmount, there's two different archetypes of wizard that were added. There is Graviturgy and another one that I can't remember. But they have their own spell list called Dunamancy. Oh, the other one has to do with time. And they have their own spell list called Dunamancy. So I took everything that was relevant under Dunamancy just because, I don't know, I'm a sadist and I wanted to I wanted to learn a whole bunch of new spells and make everybody bend to my will. And so yeah, so the spells are just crazy. They're just wild stuff. Basically, it's all moving people around the field. It's all making things fall. It's all making things fly up. It's making things move around, making things hit harder, lighter. Just a lot of control stuff, basically.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's. I want to go back to something for a second, right?
Mhm.
So, why do you want this dagger destroyed so badly?
I think just that it's I think it's definitely vengeance, but she would tell herself that uh that it's because it's like too dangerous to keep alive. But it's definitely more of a like I have to get rid of it for my own vengeance. Like that's her real feelings. But what she says out loud and what she tells herself is it's too dangerous to keep around. Uh which is true and it's a fine excuse, but you know, that's not really why she's doing it.
Okay. So that's the psychological need right there, right? Is to
Mhm.
get some sort of revenge on the universe for existing, the person who did this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, you know, there's obviously in this sort of world there's going to be a lot of death. So I think that this is just her way of in her own little way just trying to right a wrong in a personal way and she just is like, you know, really trying to do that. So,
So what would I think of what Glad is doing?
oh, well, this is what I was trying to say earlier. I'm not sure how much I want to lean into this because uh I don't want to just be annoying to the rest of the party,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like in contrast to how my previous character felt, um she uh she is like, why are we stopping him? Why don't we want people to be alive?
All right.
For her, she would see no downside. She would love it if her mom could come back, if her mentor could come back, if everybody who she has met on her journey who had dead loved ones could see them again. Uh, that sounds great to her.
Oh man. All right. So I saw Steph and Ian over the weekend, right?
Mhm.
And Steph asked me if, well, she knew that the spell was not supposed to be used this way, but she asked if we could use Speak with the Dead to say goodbye to Effie.
Aw,
You know what I said? I
what?
said no.
No.
And you know why? 'Cause that's the whole theme of this campaign
Yeah.
is, how do you suffer through the insufferable? How do you fix the one thing that can't be fixed? I'm not going to give you that kind of closure.
Also, then I'd also have to play two characters. I'd have to do hand puppets.
All
Oh,
right.
that sucks.
So, like, unlike Effie, does she have a lot of compassion, you would say?
Oh, yeah. I would say that she's very compassionate. I feel like they've met her in a way where she was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to get this dagger." So, for context, I don't think that they're really thinking about how they walked into this thing. They walk into a pub with this dagger that murders people, murdered her mom, murdered her mama, carrying a corpse that was murdered by this dagger, and they're just like hanging out in this pub. So of course she's gonna be like, this group of psychopaths are are insane, and I have to get this dagger away from them, and I will do anything to do that. And so they think that she's a crazy thief. I don't think that they're really thinking about how insane they look. They are not good at keeping a low profile. So so yeah, I she has a big heart, and she's very she's a sweetie. She's a big sweetie.
Okay. So, unlike Effie, who was kind of standoffish and cold and not,
Yes.
yeah.
No, I would say Effie was standoffish and cold. She had a hard time. That was part of her arc, I think, and it was a little bit more subtle. Was that she was learning that you can't be you have to put emotions in things. You can't always just look at things analytically, because she didn't have people that she cared about until she met this group of people. So for her, it was always about what is the best decision to make. And that was always by the numbers. And it wasn't until as the adventure is going on that best decision to make had more nuance to it. Um, I think that was why she didn't protest um, when Thea wanted to use the diamond on her father, is because for her, she I thought about protesting, but then I realized no, this feels right, because I think that for Effie, even though if it had been early on in the campaign, she would say, why are we doing this? I'm sorry, but your father is not an asset, unlike all of us.
Mm-hmm.
We are needed to save the world. Your father, sorry, but you know, that's not important. Um, I think that she realized that she, you have people that you care about, you have people that you need to connect with. I think also, even though it was kind of a side trip, going back to Shade Meadow made her
Mm-hmm.
realize that even though we didn't end up seeing her family, we spent the night on her family's farm. And I think that she reconnected with Shade Meadow, which for her was always like, can't wait to get out of town. But then she realized when we went back how magical it was and how much she liked it. And so I think that like there was like a lot of little moments where I realized that she was opening up and she was learning how to not take things so analytically. And
Yeah.
so I think that I think that uh I is the opposite. I is like big heart, loves people, doesn't understand why they would make a decision that would potentially hurt people. And so I feel like they're going to have to explain why they're making that decision, which I feel like is going to be a little bit hard for them to do. Like, how do they explain to an outsider that they're trying to stop it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Glad's side. I'm the DM. Of course, I'd take the bad guy side.
But I mean, they're gonna have to explain why he's the bad guy. I mean, the worst that you can say is that he made a deal with a devil at one point to try and make this whole thing work, but the people who called out the hypocrisy, I feel like are, well, they're dead.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see how they explain it. We're gonna see how they explain the various sides of it. So.
All right. Cool. All right, I think we have something to go on. I got, one more thing. We have like 5 minutes left, maybe.
Yeah.
So after Tix's army got destroyed, somehow you went from that scattered camp up to Hurdathrin. And what were you doing for like the past 4 days before the siege happened? And then what were you doing during the siege?
Well, I feel like, I have mentioned that she has locate object, which I took mostly because I was just, so I thought of her backstory about finding the weapon basically on the spot. I created the character number wise, but I didn't have a backstory for her. So I looked at locate object and I was like, oh, wants the dagger. And so I feel like one of the things that she does is she just casts locate object all throughout the day, because that's the only thing she cares about is finding this dagger. So I feel like she was just casting locate object, but I also feel like during the siege she was just trying to save people and help people, but she was on the siege side, wasn't she?
No, so Tix's army was a different army. It was one of the Sunland's army that invaded.
That's right. So I guess she was just walking around and she was maybe casting locate object, but then as she was looking around, maybe she was she has gravity powers. So she was doing things maybe I don't know, like how a superhero would stop a rock from falling or something like that, as people were coming by.
She was helping out the dwarves.
Yeah, helping out the dwarves.
Okay.
Stopping rocks from falling if she could.
So you got over this failure pretty easily then. After Tix's army was destroyed and you lost your best asset and ally of finding the dagger, you bounced back pretty quickly just because you're such an upbeat person.
Well, I feel like that would have happened so quickly. That would happen within a day, right? So
this happened the siege of Fallburn, right? Remember when you guys broke the siege with the troll?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Tix was part of that one of the armies that was destroyed there.
So many sieges.
Yeah. Only 2.
Well, I know. Yeah. It's a lot of sieges. two is a lot. Yeah. Well, maybe she was upset about losing that lead, but then she would have just had to find her next lead, because she was finding leads for presumably a long time, years, while she was traveling.
So and she got a hot lead because the gnomes did end up having it.
Yeah. So
yes, you knew the gnomes were doing something funky with this dagger.
That's right. Yeah. So, and I would have known because the gnomes all traveled in that direction. They all traveled there. So if I knew that the gnomes were doing something funky, all I would have had to do is just track where they were escaping to, which was Hurdathrin. So that's why I would have gone to Hurdathrin.
Okay. Awesome. Oh man. We're probably gonna wrap up the plot with a dagger pretty fast. It's sort of like I don't know. In my head, that was gonna be like maybe like the D line of the campaign, like just sort of like in the background. But like you
Yeah.
and Ian liked it so much, we gotta sort of bring it up to the foreground. So yeah, and dang, I think that was the hardest part about losing Effie, right? Is that sort of came out of nowhere.
Oh my
Like
gosh, yeah.
yeah, like if Thea had died fighting Glad and her Dothrin, she'd have had like a complete arc, right? It would have been a sad death, but it would have felt earned and complete.
Yeah.
But man, Effie just out of nowhere on a mini boss that you don't even fully understand.
Yeah, Effie was both out of nowhere, and also it was I felt like there was so much more to do with her. Like I felt like
Yeah.
there was yeah, I really care about her, and I cared about her, and it was just like one of those things where I had so many plans for her. At one point I even talked about like how can I make her immortal? Because and also I was just convinced that like she will never die because I was just like, she's a divination wizard. I'll keep her alive forever. But yeah, it was bad circumstances. I keep on replaying it in my head because it was preventable too.
Yeah.
I it was preventable if I had known how the item worked. I
So that's
had
sort of the thing, right? Like I've been thinking about that a lot too. Like, how much of that should I have revealed, right? Ahead of time.
No, I don't blame you or anything like that. I had another just for like the sake of the stream, I had another portent roll, and I assumed that on the dagger hitting, because we didn't know how the dagger worked. We didn't know it was exactly like a Vorpal blade.
But you knew it was dead, potentially
We knew it was a
fatal
potentially
situation.
deadly hit. And so I thought that I was going to have to roll a saving throw if it hit me. So when she cast Hold Person, I had a portent roll, and instead of using that portent roll on the saving throw against Hold Person, I saved it because I wanted to use it for a save against if I got hit by the dagger. Instead, if I had used it on the saving throw against Hold Person, Effie would probably be alive. Because I didn't realize that you don't save against the hit with the dagger. You save, it depends on the roll that the boss does.
If
the
you
attack
roll a
roll.
20 and have less than 30 hit points, your heart explodes.
Right. It depends on the attack roll that the boss does. So it was preventable if I had used that portent roll, because I would have made that saving throw. I wouldn't have been under Hold Person, and Effie would still be alive. So there is an alternate timeline where Effie is still alive if I had just used that portent roll there. Yeah. I misunderstood. It wasn't that I misunderstood, because it's not like you told us the wrong thing. You didn't tell us anything. I assumed how it worked, and then I assumed it correctly. Mm-hmm. I was trying to be smart about it, but what's that meme? Like I did the math.
Risk,
I took a calculated risk, but man, am I bad at math. Yeah, I misassumed how it worked, and so rough indeed. I keep on replaying it in my head, and I just keep on thinking, if only I'd used that portent roll on that saving throw, she would still be alive.
Oh man. So yeah, not only did the dagger explode Effie's heart, but I ripped out your heart, Gwen.
Yeah.
Threw it on the ground and the Mexican hat dancer. I'm not gonna keep let up until the campaign's over. Oh man, the ending's gonna be tragic.
Well.
All right. Well, I think that's
at least everybody's dead. I'm not taking any chances this time. Everybody's dead.
All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow night. And thanks to everyone for hanging out with on streams. Will be up for the next 24 hours and available on my $1 Patreon. If everyone, all 455 people watching this live, gave $1, I'd be able to pay for an editor for my videos, make them come out faster. Yeah. But Gwen, thanks for hanging out on stream, and everyone else, take care.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everyone.
Ooh. All right, stream's ended. Thanks, Gwen.
Okay. Yeah,